Everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video I'm filming the books I want to read in 2022. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Lucy and I make bookish videos and I've got lots of fun videos lined up for 2022, so please do stick around. So in this video I'll be talking through my 2022 TBR, so the books I want to read in 2022. If you are looking for new releases, I've just filmed my most anticipated books of 2022 video. So those will be all the books that are new releases in 2022 that I really want to read. So please do watch that video if you kind of want to know what new releases I'll be reading this year. But if you want the books that I need to make a high priority to read this year that maybe I've missed previously or have been books that I've just wanted to read for ages, then this is the right video for you. Okay, so I have got quite a sizable list, so I'm just gonna get cracking because there are lots of books that I've been meaning to read for so long that I have to read this year, guys. Otherwise, I'm gonna be disappointed in myself. So the first book I want to mention is The Love Hypothesis, and this is by Ali Hazelwood. So I am so slow to the gate with this book because everyone else has read it, everyone else is talking about it in 2021, and I have slept on this book and I need to be reading this next year in 2022. It's next year when I'm filming this, so I'll try and stop saying next year. But anyway, this is a romance book and it's basically about, I believe, like PhD students who fall in love. So it's described as a third year PhD candidate, Olive Smith doesn't believe in lasting romantic relationships, but her best friend does. And that's what got her into this situation. Convincing Anne that Olive is dating and well on her way to happily ever after was always going to take more than a hand-wavy Jedi mind trick. Scientists require proof. So, like any self-respecting biologist, Olive panics and kisses the first man she sees. That man is none other than Adam Carlson, a young hotshot professor and well-known ass. Which is why Olive is positively floored when Stanford's reigning lab tyrant agrees to keep her charade a secret and be her fake boyfriend. So it's a fake dating trope, the best trope ever, guys. I'm so excited about this book. I have just heard non-stop incredible things, and it published at the end of 2021, I think, so I'm not too late in reading this, but as a huge romance fan, in 2022, I really want to read more romance, so I had to put this on my list basically because I think it will be amazing. Okay, the next book is a relatively new release, and this is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. So this year I really do want to read more Margaret Rogerson. I've got her book Sorcery of Thorns up there somewhere in my chaotic bookshelf, and I just have been meaning to read that book for ages, and Vespertine is her new release. So it says, the dead of Lorraine do not rest. Artemisia, that's the name of the main character, is training to be a Grey Sister, a nun who cleanses the bodies of the deceased so that their souls can pass on. Otherwise, they will rise as spirits with a ravenous hunger for the living. She'd rather deal with the dead than the living, who trade whispers about her scarred hands and troubled past. When her convent is attacked by possessed soldiers, Artemisia defends it by awakening an ancient spirit bound to a saint's relic. It is a revenant, a malevolent being that threatens to possess her the moment she drops her guard. Wielding its extraordinary power almost consumes her, but death has come to Lorraine, and only a Vespertine, a princess trained to wield a high relic, has any chance of stopping it. So this sounds super dark, super amazing. I'm a huge fantasy reader, as a lot of you guys will know if you've stuck around to watch this channel for quite a while. I love a dark fantasy YA book, and this just sounds amazing. The fact that like she's bound herself to this like revenant sounds amazing. And is there going to be like a romance in this? I'm not sure, but I'm super keen to read this. It's been high on my list, so I really hope to read this in 2022 and hopefully soon. The next book I really want to read in 2022 is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. So this book came out in 2021, I believe, and I picked this up, I ordered it, and I was like, I'm just not going to read this yet. And I don't know why, because I've heard non-stop amazing things about this book. This is obviously a retelling of the Greek myth of Ariadne and Theseus, and the kind of like Minotaur story, I guess, like Theseus and the Minotaur. But this explores Ariadne's point of view and is kind of a feminist reclaiming, I guess, of that story. So not only is the cover like a thing of beauty, like guys, honestly, like what? But the story is just amazing too, and I'm a huge Greek mythology fangirl. I'm super pumped for this, and I can't believe I missed this when it did get released, and I don't know why I didn't read it there and then, but there's something about a new release where I'm just like scared to read it, so I need to read this one in 2022. The next book I really need to read is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, because this is the first book of the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson, one of the most acclaimed fantasy series, I would say. It's a really epic, very long fantasy series, basically around like different political climates and lots of magic, and is classic Brandon Sanderson. But I've heard non-stop good things about this series, and this is The Way of Kings Part 1, and I think that's always been why I've been like fearful of reading this series, because it's so long and all the books are like 1,000 pages each. Like this 400 page, 500 page fantasy is just part 1 of book 1, you know? So I need to read this at some point. I know, I really hope 2022 will be the year that I actually do read this series, and I'm just super pumped because I really want to be in the Stormlight Archive universe and be a fangirl for it and to be part of that community, I guess. So I'm really keen to read this book series very soon. Hopefully you'll see a reading vlog on it in 2022 as well. The next book I really need to read this year is completing a favourite series of mine, and it is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. So I wanted to wait for this book to be out in paperback to match my other books in the series before I read this. So I have great restraint, can I just say. But The Burning God is the conclusion to the Poppy War series by R.F. Kuang, which is a Chinese-inspired military history grimdark fantasy series. That's a lot of words there, but basically this series is about war, and it's inspired by the Opium Wars and a lot of Chinese history as well. It's one of the most accomplished series I've read in a very long time, and honestly it's just one of my favourite fantasy series ever. So I've been terrified to read The Burning God, and I do think 2022 will have to be the year I read it to finish the series off. But I'm honestly terrified because R.F. Kuang is brilliant at breaking people's hearts and ruining everything, so I'm not ready, but I do need to finish this series off, and I know The Burning God will be amazing. So I'm ready to read this in 2022. I'm gonna get the tissues and prepare myself. The next book is another start of a hugely accomplished fantasy series. This is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, the first book in the Farseer trilogy. So this is a hugely acclaimed fantasy series by Robin Hobb, who is one of the most well-known fantasy authors out there. Assassin's Apprentice follows Fitz, and he is trained to use magic. So I'm super pumped about starting this series finally. This will be my first Robin Hobb book ever. And as a fantasy fan, I can't believe I've waited so long to read Robin Hobb, but I'm super excited about this book. I have heard the first book in the series is not as strong as the other books, so I'm kind of preparing myself to just ease in basically and not take it for face value. I am obsessed with these covers as well. Like, these are the amazing Harper Voyager covers. I am obsessed. But I can't wait for 2022 to be the year that I start Robin Hobb for the first time ever, and I'm gonna read Assassin's Apprentice. I've been meaning to for so long, and I'm super pumped to finally be reading this series. The next book I really want to read is a romance book, and it is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is a time slip romance, and it's set in New York City, and basically I believe it's about a sapphic romance, so a female-female romance, and basically one of the girls is like from the past. It sounds amazing. I bought this book last year, so in 2021 when it was released, and I've been meaning to read it for forever, since then basically. So 2022 has to be the year I finally read this book. I have heard nothing but great things about it, and I'm a huge romance fan, and I would really like to read more sapphic romance in 2022 as well. So I'm super, super excited to be adding this to my 2022 TBR. And the next book I really want to read in 2022 is the start of another new series, guys, because I have issues and I obviously don't have enough series on the go. It is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Lost Hours series. Nope, the Last Hours series. And this is actually a kind of sequel series to the Infernal Devices. So this actually features the characters from the Infernal Devices series, their children, I believe. And I'm super, super excited about this because Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters books are some of my all-time favourites, and in particular her historical Shadowhunter series, so the Infernal Devices, is my all-time favourite, one of my all-time favourite series. I adore those books, and I think Cassandra Clare writes historical setting really, really well, and just makes it so cozy. So I definitely really want to read Chain of Gold this year, because I've also got Chain of Iron here, and I believe the next book, Chain of something is coming out this year, I think, maybe, or the year after, I'm not sure. But basically I do want to crack on with this series because there are obviously other Shadowhunter books like due to be published. There is the Wicked Power series. I don't know if that's like coming out now or like later. I need to basically catch up with the Shadowhunter world. So I'm going to be reading Chain of Iron this year. I just need to be up to date with the series again, really. The next book I want to read is a classic, and I feel like I've not been that great at reading classics lately, and I don't think I read a lot in 2021. So in 2022, there's one classic that I really would like to read, as I turned 30 in 2022, and I just want to read this book like now, because I feel like I've been meaning to read it for ages, and reading it whilst I am a landmark age of 30 years old, I feel like will be, you know, quite important. So I really want to read A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. So this is obviously a classic. It is a hugely kind of well-known book, but this is actually set during the French Revolution, and I believe it's set during the height of the Reign of Terror. So I'm already kind of really keen to read this book. And also in A Tale of Two Cities, I believe it's like mentioned in Cassandra Clare's The Infernal Devices series, I believe. So I'm just really keen to read this book. I do want to read more Charles Dickens. I've read a fair few books of his, but honestly, like, I've yet to find one that I've truly absolutely loved. So I'm keen for A Tale of Two Cities, and hopefully this one will be up my street. I also really want to read some more non-fiction this year, and so I really want to pick up Romantic Outlaws, The Extraordinary Lives of Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley by Charlotte Gordon. So this book has been like everywhere. This is basically a biography of Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley, obviously a mother and a daughter who are both very, you know, acclaimed in their own right. Mary Wollstonecraft wrote Mary and the Wrongs of Women, Vindication Against the Wrongs of Women. Yeah, a vindication of the rights of women. I remember studying that at uni, and I just really liked what I read, basically. And then, of course, Mary Shelley is the very well-known author of Frankenstein and The Last Man, and I just think I need to read this book. It's also going to be quite critical because the book I'm currently writing is set during the time period, let's just say, that Mary Shelley was writing in, and features a lot of her contemporaries or characters that are inspired by her and her contemporaries. So I really want to do this for like studying for my novel, like research, but also I'm super interested in romanticism in general. It's my favorite kind of period of literature, especially the romantic poets, which obviously Mary Shelley was married to Percy Shelley, who was a great romantic poet. So I'd be really, really keen to read this year. I'm really keen to read more biographies. This one has lots of high praise, so I think I really should enjoy this. And that's it for my 2022 TBR. So all the books I want to read this year. I am super, super pumped for all of these books. Please do let me know down in the comments which books you would like to read this year, and let me know why. Like, let me know what's on your TBR, because I can't wait to hear. Thank you again for watching this video, guys, and if you enjoyed it, why not subscribe and give this video a thumbs up? It will really help with the performance of this video, and I would just really appreciate it. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you very soon for my next video. Bye.